Thief: The Dark Project is the first of an absolutely legendary trilogy of formative stealth video games released all the way back in 1998 by Looking Glass Studios. A studio, by the way, that was absolutely fucking insane. This was a company full of big ideas and passionate people who worked 16-hour workdays, oftentimes sleeping in at the office, to bring us some of the greatest, most influential video games we've ever known. Ever heard of Ultima Underworld? No? Well, how about System Shock, or better yet, System Shock 2, or their spiritual successor, BioShock? What about Terra Nova Strike Force Centauri? No? What about Thief? Like I said, Thief is a stealth game. In fact, it's one of the first stealth games. I mean, yeah, that old scumbag Kojima released the original Metal Gear on NES a decade earlier, and the Solid one came out a whole month earlier. But Thief is still one of the first. It's definitely probably the first-person stealth game. I'm like 80% sure that's true. Nonetheless, it was instrumental in forming an entire genre. If you've played a game where you sneak around in the shadows, knock people out, and toss their bodies in a dark corner, well, guess what? Thief sort of started all that. Back then, the first-person shooter was really starting to cement itself in the annals of history, with games like Quake and Unreal utilizing the burgeoning technology of 3D acceleration. It was only in the tail end of 1996 that consumers could start to get their grimy hands on some voodoo cards, and it opened the floodgates to 3D gaming. You can finally run Quake at a reasonable frame rate, and now everyone wants in on that shit. And while everybody else are only just perfecting an already played out formula, Looking Glass Studios decides to throw every sort of formula there is out the window to make a different kind of game. A game about theft, and stealing, and not getting caught, and fucking whatever the fuck that was. And a game about skulking in the shadows and patiently waiting for the chance to scramble some brains. Definitely needs quality audio design.
Who's noising about then?
And luckily, this is an area where Thief really excels. Every aspect of the soundscape evokes this palpable atmosphere, and a lot of that weight's pulled by the soundtrack. It's a lot of industrial, droning ambience with a splash of late 90s electric guitar, you know, to give us some flavor. And I like it. Usually when an OST has this many ambient tracks, most of them get lost in the background and don't end up being memorable. But Thief's a whole nother beast. Because of the nature of the experience, you're gonna be crawling around manors, dungeons, and medieval cities for hours on end. Clocking in at around 20 hours of gameplay, it's slower paced than most. Gives you a chance to really stew in the atmosphere, take it all in. And I don't know, Thief's soundtrack has a certain style and sound. It was a lot more memorable than I expected it to be. All the performances are great too.
He's old, and the master forgers do jostle each other for precedence.
I spy not on my betters, 'tis in the builder's hands.
'Tis true, 'tis true.
I can't think of a single character that wasn't voiced spectacularly. I especially love Garret's voice.
I wonder if he reads them or if it's just for show.
It's so iconic. My only gripe with the acting is that there's not enough voices.
But I've been thinking we should watch the outsides.
That's stupid. People to worry about there on the inside.
No, then you catch them before they get inside, you taffer.
Oh!
All the guards sound the same. They all play into the rough, dumb medieval soldier with raspy voices and crippling alcoholism. And it's great, but there's literally one or two guys doing every guard's voice. It's got that whole Oblivion voice acting syndrome thing going on. And it might take you out of the experience, but honestly, it wasn't such a big deal for me, especially when the main cast is so well acted. But if you ask me, the real magic of Thief's atmosphere is the sound effects. From the happy little jingle when you steal someone's valuables, to the sound of Garrett's tap shoes tipping away on all these marble floors. It all sounds so crisp and kinda eloquent. There's even different levels in the sound of footsteps depending on what surface they're on and how fast they're going. So every surface needs 3 different sounds just for walking on them. But what you get as a result is a meaty, fleshed out soundscape that really gives the player a sense of the world we're in. Thief was one of the best sounding games of its time, and it definitely still holds up, at least in that department. And while Thief's audio design aged quite well, graphically, it looks like shit! More accurately, the levels look like they came out of a children's pop-up book than anything else. This was back in a time when developers had to actually keep track of all the triangles they were drawing. So it's a lot of straight edges, very blocky and abstract. The textures get across what they need to, I guess, and I don't know if this is a product of the 2.5-decade-old code, the high resolution, or the mod I had to install to even get it to run. But what the fuck's up with all these textures anyway? Like, how weird colors to them, like they're corrupted or something, but it's not so bad to make me actually believe that. And what's going on when I get close to them? It's like this isn't even a texture made out of pixels anymore. I have no idea what's happening here. The game looks its best outside in the medieval cities. It's also when it looks the most like that pop-up book, but pop-up books can look pretty cool. Thief can be really colorful and dense when it wants to be, but most of the time you'll be indoors, traversing through bare mansions with questionable architecture, or God forbid, caves. Fucking caves! In a game about stealing! What am I plundering from this stone anus? A conversation for later, but what I'm trying to say is while Thief can be quite evocative and interesting to look at, it also oftentimes isn't. But hey, you're not here to gawk at the scenery. You're here to creep through decadent manors and estates, alleviating the upper class of their frivolous mortal possessions. So enough about the texture work. How's the gameplay? Alright, I'ma be real with you. Keep it a buck, as the kids might say. This is the part of the review where I'm gonna start to dish out some unpopular opinions. At least I think they're unpopular. Lots of people love this game, and it really can't be argued that it's one of the most influential of all time. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's still fun to play, or technically sound. So before I get into all this shit, I need you to understand that I wanted to love this game, and in a lot of ways I still do at least like it. But, well, I mean, we'll get into it. So strap yourself in, cause this ride's about to get controversial as fuck! Man, who's calling me?
Hey, Shoes, it's me, Warren motherfucking Spector, you're the one and only.
Holy shit, it's Warren Spector!
The sole creative genius behind Thief, System Shock, and Deus Ex.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, Warren.
Anyway. I'm just calling to say I love your work.
Oh shit, really? That's sick! Have you seen the Half-Life one?
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna need your social.
My social? What?
Yeah, your social. You know, it's how we verify that it's really the great Shoes I'm talking to. Bill Gates will make sure nothing gets out.
Bill Gates? Dude, you don't work at Microsoft. Who is this?
Well, it's me. What do you mean? It's Warren Spector.
Warren Sphincter? Man, I knew something was off about you. You're a freak wearing someone else's face.
Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. I got your password, Shoes.
Oh shit, that's ominous. Yeah, well, I bet you're bluffing.
Ice cream sandwich 10.
Oh shit, I didn't get my fucking password. Oh fucking damn it! Wait, Gaz? Gaz, is that you?
No.
What the hell, dude? You're ransoming my password off to me? I trusted it! And he hung up. So I guess that wasn't Warren Spector after all. He seems like a stand-up guy. Definitely wouldn't try to commit cyber crimes. You know, that reminds me, actually. Spector loves to talk about how during Thief's development, he'd find himself in a tough spot during playtests where he just couldn't stealth past a situation. So when this happened, Spector would ask the team to give the player more and better options to get through the missions with brute force. To which the team would reply, "No, Spector, you fucking idiot. This is a stealth game. We're making a stealth game." But Spector felt so strongly about this that he'd eventually have it realized in his own game, Deus Ex, which I made a video on. You should watch that. But now that I've played Thief, whenever I think about this, I can't help but ask exactly what game are you playing, Warren? Thief is remembered in gaming history as a stealth game first and foremost. Garrett's supposed to be a malnourished, spindly little fuck who can barely hold a sword up. Your idea of Thief's gameplay loop is probably one where you put out torches, stick to the shadows, and slowly, carefully, one by one, find the spaces and gaps in the guard's routine where you can crip walk in and knock them out, only to carry their meat sacks to a dark corner for disposal. And this is how you're supposed to play this game, right? On the surface, Thief incentivizes you heavily to play this way. Like I said, Garret has 3 different levels of footsteps depending on his speed when walking, and it's taught to you early on that there will be surfaces that are too loud to approach someone unheard.
I could hear that.
You even get moss arrows to dampen the clacking of Garrett's Tim's. No, seriously, what is he wearing to make all this fucking noise? You get water arrows to put out torches, a blackjack to crack unsuspecting skulls. The game's setting the stage, showing you how it wants you to approach it. And in the first mission, the Bafford heist, everything was working fine. I was sneaking, putting out torches, disposing bodies, just generally engaging with the game in the way it was intended. I took my time, stayed in the shadows, cleaned the place out, and it felt good. I beat it in 30 minutes and had fun the whole time. Also, this is a good time to point out I played Thief on hard, which isn't actually the hardest difficulty. I like how the game handles its difficulty, at least in theory. When you turn it up, you essentially turn up Garret's greed. Every rung of the ladder adds more things to the list of valuables you need to pay rent. We got some good momentum going into the second level, break from Crag's Cleft prison. So we start out in a mine shaft with... Hold up. Is that a fucking zombie? Why are there zombies? I didn't sign up for this. Oh, well, what? You expect me to sneak past a zombie? I have no interest in blackjacking a zombie, okay? I don't have the human compulsion to show mercy to a corpse. I'll gladly skewer that bitch.
Relax, dude. I said chill! 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 Chill!
Well, maybe not gladly, because it's not very fun. Combat in Thief isn't great. Garret swings his sword in different directions depending on where you're aiming in relation to the enemy, but for no apparent reason? It's not like there's directional pairing or anything. This whole system just seems kinda pointless. At the end of the day, it's a noodle fest where you flop your sword around till the paper mache man crumples beneath you, or you might just die in 2 hits, because these guys' attack animations aren't always fair or clear, especially these fucking spiders. Yeah, you fight a couple of these scumbags down here too, genuinely, and I mean this. Whoever worked on this spider enemy, congratulations, because you've created the worst enemy of any 3D game I've ever played. Their hitbox is tiny, you gotta crouch to even reach it, their attack animation is practically non-existent, and don't even bother trying to fight them on a slope. God, it's like a fever dream. I thought this was a stealth game. With the mines out of the way, we get into Crag's Cleft prison proper, and finally, humans to sneak past. So even though I should be having fun now, I'm definitely not. It's a combination of a lot of things. This area is pretty big and it all looks very similar. It's a lot of narrow hallways where you play red light, green light with the village idiots. And to top it all off, the mission isn't exactly the clearest. I really like the part where they put the essential item among a pile of bones. I kept walking right by the thing, wasting so much fucking time. Bada boom, bada bing, hour and 16 minutes later, and I'm done. I'm out of here. Can't really say I had all that much fun either. Alright, so it's on to the third mission, down in the Bone Horde. This mission sucks! It's a straight up dungeon dive with practically no stealth. You're gonna be fighting zombies, spirits, spiders, dongos. What are these things? Oh, and traps too. I'm here to play Thief, not Tomb Raider. I thought this was a stealth game.
Yeah, come on. Coming to me. Boom! Oh, damn it. Jesus! Oh my god! You know, I've watched a fair few videos on Thief in my time, and I got the impression from most of them that this game gets worse as it goes on. Because Looking Glass starts doing this shit, where they throw a bunch of flesh-eating monsters at you. But this is the third level of the game, and already I'm dealing with this shit. Thief's combat isn't good enough to support these kinds of missions, but for some reason, Thief isn't content with expensive houses and cities. Garrett's treated like he's some kind of adventurer or something. It's not my job to slay unholy creatures in the bowels of an ancient tomb. Trust me, that might sound cool, but it doesn't play well in Thief's sandbox. Hour and a half later, the third mission was complete and absolutely no fun was had. On to the fourth, Assassins. This is where the game started to fall apart. So already, 2 out of the 3 missions weren't great, but now we're back to the manors and cities, right? Well, yeah, but this mission is where I started to see the cracks in Thief's core gameplay. It's also the mission where I truly realized this game has bunny hopping. I've been on record stating bunny hopping instantly makes any game better, but obviously I'm just a fucking idiot. It doesn't fit at all in Thief. So to bunny hop in Thief, all you do is run and jump. Yeah. Seriously, that's it. Remember that old spiel I did about how to B-op in the Half-Life video where you had to air strafe and rebind keys and shit? Yeah, well, there's none of that in this. Just W and space, W and space. How does this get past QA? It's so at odds with Thief's design that Garret legitimately can't even handle it. If you press a space bar enough times while running forward, Garrett's head will whip back from the air pressure as his internal organs are ripped apart by the sheer G-force, dealing damage. Truly, no human body can withstand the pure speed we're dealing with here. This is ridiculous, but honestly, it was still kind of fun. What wasn't fun was dealing with the AI. They're just just so inconsistent and stupid. Like, here's a good example of something that happened throughout my whole playthrough.
Sir? Was that you?
Notice how that guy made a quip like he saw me, but he didn't actually do anything about it? This was a constant thing. Enemies would react verbally like they got a whiff of me, but their patterns didn't change at all, so what's the point? This seems like a bug. Also, I want you to notice the angle at which I didn't get spotted here. I'm in full light, right up against a wall, perpendicular to his path, and he doesn't notice me, which by itself is perfectly fine. But now take a look at this.
Got an intruder!
This is in the same level. Notice how no matter which way I try to enter this room, even if you might think I'm out of their cone of vision and I'm walking as slowly as possible, they always get alerted. Even after I finagled my way inside, this guy wouldn't drop my blackjack when I was in perfect darkness and he wasn't searching for me anymore. Even though this worked plenty other times later in the game. So I'm not left with much choice other than to piece the homies up. Yeah, I might have had some flash bombs, but give me a break. This is the 4th level. I hadn't even used a flash bomb up to this point, and I also hadn't fully realized that items don't carry over to your next mission, so I was generally being conservative with all my resources. But my real question is, why does this one room with these 2 goons act so much different than any other room with any other goons in the rest of the game? You also gotta love that this fucker is holding onto an item we can't leave without, but it doesn't make itself very obvious. I ran around this place for a while after every guard was sound asleep, just looking for the thing. And I guess someone found one of my bodies. There's some alarms blaring now, and I already quick saved, so fuck it. Yeah, Thief has one quick save slot that gets overwritten every time. Luckily, I only had to restart a mission once because of this, and even then, it was my fault, but it's just something to consider. By the time I got to the end of this mission, I just didn't care anymore. You're supposed to sneak back through the city after it's all done to get back to your house, but instead I opted to break ankles and b-hop my way through the whole goddamn city with an entire cavalry on my ass. And you know what? It was easy as dirt! 40 long minutes later, and mission 4 is complete. I'm gonna go ahead now and skip to the mission that completely broke Thief for me. Mission 8 of Thief Gold, the Mage Towers. Thief Gold, which is what I've been playing throughout this video, is a version of Thief released roughly a year after the original that adds 3 new levels, as well as remixing some of the old ones. But the thing is, these 3 new levels are the worst ones in the whole game. The Thieves Guild level, which is mission 5, is way too big to be this early in the game, and it's mostly sewers. And then Song of the Caverns, the 10th mission, has too many caves with monsters, and it's way too easy when you actually get into the Opera House.
Guess I'm not getting any information from Geary after all.
Oh my god! Look at this guy.
Which leaves us with this mission. The Mage Towers. This castle, or whatever we're in, is so comically huge. I mean, look at this. Jesus Christ. And its layout isn't very exciting. But the sheer size and density of guards here really tested my skills at this game. And I gotta say, I think I broke it. At this point, I was barreling past the sound barrier, bunny hopping up and clubbing guards to sleep. I was knocking out guards in their patrol groups right in front of each other. They're so stupid, they'll parade over their buddy's unconscious body without hesitation. I knocked someone out 3 feet in front of the person they were actively having a conversation with, and the guy just went about like nothing happened. So many times in this level I pulled off some stupid chain takedown that I couldn't believe worked, and in pure awe said,
"Who's that there?"
Wow.
This level is also where I fully realized just how deaf these guards really are. I keep talking about the different levels of footsteps depending on the surface we're walking on and how fast we're going. But the reality is that besides the literal handful of surfaces that are flagged to alert guards, some of which don't even care how fast you're walking on them, it really doesn't matter. You can effectively full sprint up to a guard on 90% of surfaces and take them out before they even realize. So instead of sneaking in the shadows and slowly creeping into the holes in their patrol patterns, why not bum rush them? They might even throw out a line like, "Who's making all that noise, you taffer?" But their brains will be a Polar Pop slushy before they make the decision to turn around. Oh, and did I mention they're blind? Their vision cones must be tiny. They can miss you even if you're standing in broad daylight right in front of them. To break it down, after I stealthed my way through this whole mission, knocking out every guard in this huge ass castle, I started to make my way into the Mage Towers. The towers are like little challenge rooms with loud floors and floating platforms. These towers are boring and linear. By the time I got into the fire one, I was so done with the stealth that I just didn't care anymore. I started to bare arms at every hammerite that came my way, and it was actually fucking easy. Turns out circle strafing and stun locking is pretty effective in this game. So I finish up all the towers, get what I came here for, and I'm out. An hour and 40 minutes later, Thief's 8th mission is over, and this game will never recover from the damage done here. At least not in my playthrough. The 25-year-old AI has shown its age. What a shock. Maybe these guys' detection range made more sense when there were 10 pixels to go around, but what we have now are guards that are trivial when you understand how to abuse them. But at least they're more fun to deal with than the monsters! Going back to what Spectre said about wanting more combat options when the stealth got hard, to which the team basically said, nah, dude, that's not the kind of game we're making. Well, to that I have to say, why the fuck not? Why not let us brutalize our way through these mansions? Because this is a stealth game? Well, then why are there so many combat-focused missions then? You guys obviously have no issue with us getting our hands dirty. Because it'd break our immersion? How exactly? Garret already slays unholy monsters on the daily. We're talking about the stone-cold kind of motherfucker who stabs ghosts to death. Because it wouldn't be all that fun? Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably the reason. To which I'll ask again, why do you guys keep making me sword fight things? Especially the last few missions that practically force you to. That's pretty much all I have to say about the gameplay, which was a lot. The AI is dumb as a bag of rocks, and the game often puts its worst foot forward. I know there's some people who might be disappointed that this is how I feel, but let's try to be fair here. Back in '98, this was some hype shit, but it's had more than 20 years to age, and that time hasn't necessarily been nice to it. I can understand how this might have been an important game for you, and how you might have had a blast playing it all those years ago, but what? I've said my piece. But of course, we're not done there. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the video. Story time! Thief's story is a wild fucking ride, so beware of spoilers. Okay, first off, the quality of these cutscenes is incredible. Yo, peep this intro. That's a man. From the art style to the music to the performances, everything hits here, and you're delivered a wonderfully unique atmosphere that fits so well with the themes and style of this game and its characters. Starting the game proper, we open with the young Garret swiping pockets to stay alive. But on this day, he tries to snatch the wallet of a keeper. The keepers are an enigmatic group of people who do things. I have literally no fucking idea. As a reward for being so skilled in thievery, this keeper offers Garret a place in their organization, which he begrudgingly accepts. This leads right into the tutorial with your new keeper buddies teaching you the ropes. It's a really ingenious way of contextualizing this shit. Anyway, it's years later and Garret's left the keepers. Now he steals things for a living. The first few levels are unconnected and independent heists Garret pulls for no other reason than money. It isn't until we meet Constantine that the main plot gets going. And pretty quickly you get sucked into this magical story with ancient gods and scriptures and factions at war. You end up getting tasked to steal a magic rock called the Eye for Constantine. A rock, mind you, that's been locked away for decades by a group of religious fanatics known as the Hammerites. Getting this thing's a whole process that constitutes a solid half of the game. But it's twist time! You sold it for a fucking demon! Who'da thunk? It's pretty obvious this guy's got his own most likely malicious reasons for wanting the Eye. But a demon? Maybe I should have expected this. I mean, this guy's mansion is a funhouse with no rhyme or reason. The front of the place looks pretty normal, but once you start navigating its twisting halls, nonsense rooms, the indoor jungle, and the space room, you start to realize this place is fucked. No, but seriously, I genuinely couldn't tell if this space room was a bug or missing textures or what. I was so confused. I must actually be retarded, because I swallowed Garret's cope about rich people just having such out there tastes with too much money way too easily. I didn't think very hard about this level, so when Constantine turned out to be the woodsy lord of Hammerite legend, it hit a little harder. The Hammerites' lore and story is so well done. It's the backbone of this game's plot, and it holds up really well. Not only is it told fantastically, mostly through these passages shown at the beginning of every cutscene, but it has definite themes and through lines that make it actually believable that people would genuinely believe in this shit. So anyway, Constantine steals our eye because the rock eye is blind, I guess, and then leaves us to be eaten by rat people.
Stand ye then in the green's infested maw, and speeds he out his judgments upon the weeps and writhing manfolds.
Okay, well, I don't really know what the fuck you just said.
Constantine's whole deal is that he's a pagan god who doesn't like the fancy technology humanity's invented. So after being defeated by the Builder, who the Hammerites worship, Constantine, or the Woodsy Lord, or the Trickster, he came up with a plan to return humanity back to nature with the Eye. Hence why he had to steal it. His plan, the Dark Project, is to use the Eye to open a portal and let in demons to, kill people. So that's cool. Cutting back to Garret, he's freed by a couple keepers, and off we go to thwart Constantine's evil plan. I can't help but notice, but there's a lot of armed rat men between me and him. God, I hate this level. I hate it. We meet up with the remaining Hammerites, and they give us a fake eye we can use to trick the Trickster. The final mission is a literal death run to the boss, except I didn't really treat it that way till the very end. Don't make my mistake. Be out through this shit till you get to Constantine. Make sure to use your moss arrows. This is one of those 7 surfaces you definitely cannot walk on without being heard. Replace the eye when the dumbass is looking away, climb a rope, and watch the fireworks. We're treated with a well-done sequel-bait ending cutscene, and that's Thief! This story is one of the game's strongest assets. It's very dense and full of ideas. It's the kind of story where the more you read into and think about it, the more you get from it. It's definitely not what I'd say surface level. It's an integral piece of what keeps you pushing forward. My only issue is that this plot leads to all these combat missions and caves and buried cities, which sound cooler than they really are. I feel like Thief's the kind of game where you should be robbing houses, not upending the evil plans of pagan gods, but it is what it is. And it's decently enjoyable at that. And you could always play Thief 2. It's a lot more grounded from what I can tell. But I also might be totally wrong about that. So, does Thief still hold up? No. I didn't want to say it, and I know I'll get a lot of shit for it, but this is a game, goddammit, and while there's many individual pieces of the experience that are fucking good, the core of the gameplay is busted. Sure, the AI is terrible by modern standards, but worse yet, Looking Glass consistently upends their own design philosophies when they make so many levels a dungeon crawl. And while I can't rightfully recommend this game to any Joe Schmo off the street, if you are interested in it, or in stealth games in general, I implore you to give Thief 2 a try. I've played a little of it, but I've only heard good things, one of which is that there's a lot less mandatory combat in that one. If you do want to play Thief 1, it's $7 on Steam, but it often goes down to less than 1. Just know that it literally won't launch out of the box, at least not for me. I recommend using the T-Fix mod, specifically T-Fix Lite, which only fixes bugs and gets the thing working. It's super easy to install. Just open the game once, let it crash and do its thing, then copy and paste the files into the root and you're good. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, like it, and comment other old games you think stand up to the test of time. Also, we hit 300 subs, which is pretty fucking sick, and I just want to say thanks, like a shit ton. I got a lot of subs in a really short amount of time, and that's fucking cool, because more people get to see the stupid shit I make. So if you like my stupid shit, make sure to subscribe and check out some of my other vids. I peddle fine wares, I swears. Anyway, thanks for watching.